Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about words that you definitely gonna need if you're looking to apply to English-speaking universities. So if you want to brush up your English vocabulary, learn some new words, and also learn a little about university application process, please continue watching this video. The first very important word is called admissions, and admissions is actually section on the university's website where you're going to learn about everything you need in order to apply. Sometimes they call it admission requirements, which means they're going to list all of the things that you need in order to submit your application. And there is also a thing called admissions committee, which is a group of people who are actually going through your application documents and are deciding whether they should admit you or not. Thing number two, if you're looking to apply to American universities, you should definitely consider financial aid. As you know, American universities are really expensive, but it's also a common knowledge that not every student pays the whole tuition. I would say like every second student receives some kind of financial aid. And financial aid is actually money that you're receiving from other sources, not like your pocket, but from universities' funds, maybe some external funds, maybe you're working for a university and you're getting paid. So this is called financial aid, and these are means to actually lower the price of your education. And there are different kinds of financial aid. There is merit-based financial aid, which means that you are awarded some money based on whatever you've achieved before. So for example, if you're a straight-A student, if you have different publications, if you took part in competitions, you can apply for merit-based financial aid. If you're just applying to a university and you're a great student and you're applying to a top university, you can also consider need-based financial aid. So need-based financial aid is available mostly to domestic American students. But if you're an international student and you're applying to a top university like Harvard, for example, Harvard provides need-based financial aid for international students as well, which means that what Harvard says is that if you got admitted to Harvard and you don't have money, you would still be able to study because we're going to cover the rest of your costs. And don't worry, you're going to be able to study because need-based financial aid is going to provide you enough money to cover everything that you need in order to study in Harvard. And financial aid is sometimes full financial aid, which means it covers tuition fees, which is money you pay for your education, something you pay to the university for, like listening to the lectures. And second part is room and board. This is a traditional saying, like room and board is accommodation and food that you're gonna eat during your studies. Sometimes they cover it in the form of stipend. For example, they pay you like, I don't know, it depends on the university, from $600 to $1,000 a month in order for you to support yourself. Sometimes they provide you accommodation. Again, it depends on the university. Two other important words to remember. There are need-aware universities, which means universities that are gonna consider your need to get external funds. For example, you're applying to a master's program and you say in your application materials that the only way for you to study would be receiving financial aid. So, and if the university is need-aware and they look at your application, they say, hey, maybe this guy is not that good for receiving full financial aid, they can just reject your application based on that. So be careful here. If you have some money for your education, I would definitely mention them in the application materials, because if the university is need aware, they can just reject your application based on your request for full financial assistance. But there are also need-blind universities. Again, Harvard is need-blind, which means whatever you state in your application, how much money you have, how much money you're going to need from university, they're not going to consider it as part of your application. They're just going to consider your academic performance, your motivation letter, your background. And this is good for talented students who are looking to apply for great universities like top universities and who have limited budget to support themselves during studies. Going back to the application, there is a thing called application fee, something that you pay to the university employees so that they could evaluate your application, go through your materials, so you pay for their time. And application fees can be really different. Sometimes application fees like $30 to $60, which is slightly okay. There are also like MIT's application fee for the MBA program was $245 last year. And I think that's too much, because if you're applying to 5 top universities, you can end up paying more than $1,000 in application fees. But hello, life hack from Marina, there is an application fee waiver, which means that you can ask university to not pay the application fee. And they would normally tell you, like top universities wouldn't do that, But some universities would say, hey, our application fee waiver requirements are like GMAT starting with 700 or like high TOEFL scores, or maybe they would just evaluate your application and say you're good enough to qualify for the application fee waiver. So in my case, I got application fee waivers from, I think, 4 universities out of 6 that I applied for. So definitely consider asking university to waive the application fee. The next section of the admissions process is a very important section called motivation letter. Sometimes it's also called personal statement, which means that this is the only section where you can show yourself as a personality, which is a letter where you write about things that motivate you to apply to the program, things that happened to you in the past, who formed you as a personality, which determined whatever you want to do later in your life. So really pay attention to this section and put a lot of effort into it, because to my opinion, this is like 30% of your whole application, and I would definitely put like 30% of my preparation time into writing a perfect motivation letter. And what's very important, again, this is something that I've came up with. When I wrote my motivation letters, I also mentioned faculty. Faculty is another word. Faculty is actually people who work for the university. Again, the value of education is actually meeting new people and hanging out with amazing professors. So what I did, I actually went to the faculty section of the university's website, look at the professors who are teaching at this program, and I said, hey, there is this professor, I actually read his article on this and that, and I would be really excited that I would have an opportunity to discuss this and that with this professor. And you can find the name of all of the professors at the faculty section. Another thing that you would need to submit with your application is called recommendation letter, or rather letter of recommendation. And this is when you ask your teacher or your manager or your colleague to write a letter about you and tell the university why you're a good fit for the program. And here you need to have somebody who works with you like daily or really often, so they know you well, so they can tell real anecdotes, and anecdotes means real stories that define you as a personality. One last thing that I wanted to mention about the application process is transcripts. Transcripts is actually papers from your previous university which say which subjects that you've listened to, which grades you have received, and for the application purposes you would just need to supply scanned copies of your transcripts. But if the university says, yes, we want you, and you say, yes, I want you too, and you're like a perfect match, you go to that university, they're gonna ask you for official transcripts. And an official transcript is actually an original paper that you're going to ask your university for, and you're going to put it in a sealed envelope, which means the university, an envelope that is sealed. Great explanation, right? So you're going to put it in a sealed envelope in your university and send it to the American university or Canadian, British, whatever. And this is called official transcripts in a sealed envelope. There is also a thing called diploma evaluation. Sometimes universities, for example, Johns Hopkins says, we don't want to see your original transcripts, but we want you to send them to a credential evaluation agency in the United States. I've sent mine to the ECE evaluation agency, and they looked through my transcripts and they said, so for example, I have a specialist degree from Russia, and they said that specialist degree in America is actually bachelor's and master's. So they sent me an official paper confirming that I have master's already, So Johns Hopkins just required the credential evaluation process, but not all of the universities do. So be really careful. Don't do it just in vain, because it costs some money. It costs, I think, from $200 to $300, depending on the agency that you're using. I would say 90% of American universities do not require any credential evaluation process. And the last thing, graduation requirements. This is the section on the university's website where you see what you actually need to do in order to receive the degree from this university. And they would have a list of subjects. They would also have a curriculum that you will have. Curriculum is the list of the subjects that you will need to listen to, and there are core subjects. For example, if you're doing economics, you would definitely have, like, I don't know, economics 1, macroeconomics. And if you're doing economics with concentration in marketing, you're gonna have electives. And electives means that not everybody has to listen to these subjects, but if you're concentrating in some particular subject, you're gonna have to listen to them, like, I don't know, digital marketing. So this was it, guys. I hope this video is useful for you. Let me know if there are any other words that confused you when you were in the process of your application, or if you're just starting, let me know what confuses you. I'll be happy to answer those questions. And if you like this video, don't forget to like it. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, because it's a great channel. See you later. Bye.